Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. This time, we're going to be doing a deep dive into some resources for new Muslims, especially with Ramadan right around the corner.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us who have been Muslim for a while kind of forget what it was like to be brand new
Yeah.
and then have this huge month coming up
Yeah.
where, there are all these expectations and you might not even know where to start.
Definitely. And I think that's what makes these resources so valuable.
Absolutely. It's like they meet you right where you are,
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge the challenges, and then give you these really practical tools to navigate it all.
Yeah, totally. It's like a warm embrace for anyone feeling a little lost or overwhelmed.
Okay, so before we get into the specifics,
Okay.
what's the overall vibe of these resources?
Mm-hmm.
What's the main message they're trying to get across?
I think the core message is really about hope and empowerment. They're reminding new Muslims that, you're not alone in this journey.
Yeah.
It's natural to feel all sorts of emotion.
Right.
Excitement, confusion, maybe even a little bit of fear.
And that's okay.
Exactly. It's all part of the process. And these materials are designed to be like a friendly guide, a companion to help you through those initial stages.
I like that, a companion.
Yeah.
Because it really does feel like they're walking alongside you, offering support and encouragement every step of the way.
Absolutely. And one thing that really struck me was how they emphasized that even the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, experienced these feelings.
I was going to say, they actually talk about that.
Yes. They mention how, at the beginning of his mission, he felt isolated,
Right.
uncertain,
Oh, wow.
and even a bit overwhelmed.
It's kind of comforting to know that, right?
It is incredibly comforting because if he, the greatest of prophets, felt that way, then it's definitely okay for anyone new to Islam to feel the same way.
It normalizes the whole experience,
Totally. It reminds us that these feelings aren't a sign of weakness. They're just part of being human and embarking on a profound life change.
So true.
And these resources, they don't shy away from those difficult emotions.
No, they don't.
They actually acknowledge them head on, which I think is really powerful.
It's like they're saying, hey, we get it, it's tough, but you've got this.
Exactly. And then they offer these really practical strategies for dealing with those challenges.
Okay, so speaking of challenges,
Yes.
the materials outline 5 common ones that new Muslims often face.
Right.
And I have to say, they're spot on.
They really are.
Like, they nailed it. So the first one is loneliness.
Oh, yes.
That feeling of not quite fitting in anywhere anymore.
It's like you're in between worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You've left your old life behind, but you haven't fully found your place within the Muslim community yet.
It's a tricky space to be in.
It is, and I imagine it can feel really isolating.
It definitely can.
So what do the resources say about dealing with that loneliness?
Well, they suggest a really interesting perspective shift.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
They encourage you to reframe this loneliness as an opportunity.
Okay.
A chance to forge a deeper connection with Allah.
Actually get closer to God because you're feeling that loneliness.
Yes, exactly. Because, Allah is always with us.
Right.
Even when we feel alone.
That's powerful. It's like instead of pushing away the loneliness, you're using it as a bridge to something greater.
Absolutely. And they also remind you that, by becoming Muslim,
Yeah.
you're joining this vast global community of believers.
Oh, that's right.
You're not alone. There's so much support out there. And that brings us to Ramadan, a time that can actually amplify those feelings of loneliness and overwhelm.
And especially for new Muslims.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're trying to figure out fasting and the extra prayers and just this whole new way of life.
It's a lot to process all at once.
Yeah, and it's easy to get caught up comparing yourself to people who've been doing this for years.
Right, like you're suddenly surrounded by these Ramadan experts.
Exactly, and you're like, wait, I don't even know what iftar is.
Exactly.
So do the resources offer any advice specifically for Ramadan?
They do, actually. A good chunk of the material is dedicated to navigating Ramadan as a new Muslim.
Okay, cool. Because I was thinking that's got to be one of the biggest hurdles.
It is.
It's like jumping into the deep end.
Definitely.
So what kind of tips do they give?
One thing that really stood out to me was this emphasis on quality over quantity.
Okay, so instead of trying to do everything perfectly, it's more about picking a few things and really focusing on those.
Exactly. It's about setting realistic goals. Maybe you focus on praying all 5 daily prayers on time. Maybe it's reading a page of Quran every day. Or maybe it's just about being more mindful of your intentions throughout the day.
So finding what works for you.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to keep up with some external standard
It's about making Ramadan your own.
I love that it really ties into that whole idea of embracing the journey at your own pace.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about loneliness and feeling overwhelmed.
Right.
Now, what about criticism from non-Muslim friends and family?
Oh, that's a big one.
It is, because you're already feeling vulnerable and unsure of yourself.
And then you have people questioning your choices.
Yeah, it can be tough.
It definitely can. But the resources actually offer some really helpful advice on how to handle those situations.
Okay, good, because I was wondering about that.
Yeah, well, one suggestion is to let your actions speak louder than words.
Interesting. So, like, show them the beauty of Islam
Exactly.
through your character and how it's positively impacting your life.
Absolutely.
Instead of getting into these big arguments.
Right. Sometimes just living your truth is the most powerful statement.
I like that.
And they also remind us to approach these conversations with compassion and understanding.
Oh, that's important.
It is, because oftentimes the reactions are coming from a place of fear.
Right. They might be worried or misinformed.
Exactly. So meeting them with empathy can go a long way.
It's like you're helping them understand where you're coming from.
Exactly.
Okay, so what about those moments when the doubt creeps in and you start questioning your own choices?
Yeah.
Like maybe you're feeling discouraged or like you're not good enough.
That's so normal.
It is.
Oh, yeah. Those feelings are so common.
Huh. Okay.
But the sources suggest that in those moments, it's crucial to reconnect with your why.
Your why? What do you mean by that?
Remember what drew you to Islam in the first place.
Okay.
What resonated with your soul. Hold on to that, especially when you're facing external negativity.
Like it's an anchor that keeps you grounded.
Exactly. It's a reminder of your truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
And that actually leads us to another common struggle that the resources talk about: guilt over past mistakes.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
It is. A lot of new Muslims carry this weight.
Yeah.
This feeling of not being worthy because of their past actions.
It's like they're holding on to those past mistakes and letting them define who they are now.
Right. And it can be really debilitating.
Yeah.
But the sources offer this amazing message.
What's that?
Allah's mercy is infinite, and accepting Islam is like wiping the slate clean.
A fresh start.
Exactly. You get to move forward without the burden of those past regrets.
That's got to be so liberating.
It is incredibly liberating.
And empowering too, right?
Absolutely. It's about focusing on the present and the future, on building a new life rooted in faith and good deeds.
I love that. And it actually ties into the final challenge that the resources discuss, this feeling of not being Muslim enough.
Ah, the classic comparison trap.
Right. It's like we're constantly measuring ourselves against this idealized version of what it means to be a good Muslim.
And always falling short.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what? The sources are so reassuring on this point.
Oh, good. I was hoping they would address that.
Oh, they do. They normalize this struggle and remind us that there's no such thing as a perfect Muslim.
You know what? I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with.
Oh, I agree.
Even those of us who have been Muslim for a while.
Totally. It's easy to get caught up in
Yeah.
trying to be the perfect Muslim.
But it's not about perfection, right?
No, it's not. It's about sincerity and intention. It's about striving to be the best versions of ourselves day by day.
And recognizing that everyone's journey is different.
Exactly. We all have our own strengths and weaknesses.
So instead of focusing on what other people are doing, it's more about focusing on your own personal growth and connection with Allah.
Absolutely.
I love that.
And you know what's really beautiful about that?
What's that?
The sources emphasize that Allah doesn't look at our outward appearances or some checklist of rituals.
He doesn't.
No. He sees the sincerity of our hearts and the effort we're putting in.
Oh, that's good.
It's so reassuring, especially for those who are still learning and figuring things out.
It takes the pressure off a bit.
Exactly. It's about progress, not perfection.
Which is a good reminder for all of us.
Definitely, no matter where we are on our journey.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into these Ramadan resources for new Muslims, I'm struck by this overwhelming sense of
tell me about it.
Hope and possibility.
Yes, me too. It's like they provide a roadmap for navigating this new terrain.
And they offer comfort and encouragement along the way.
Absolutely. They acknowledge the challenges.
Yeah.
But they also provide practical advice, spiritual guidance, and this beautiful reminder that we're never truly alone.
It's like they're saying, hey,
Yeah.
we get it, it's tough,
Mm-hmm.
but you've got this.
Exactly. And, you have a whole community of support.
Right.
And most importantly, you have Allah, whose mercy and guidance are always with you.
And that's a really comforting thought,
It is.
especially as we head into this blessed month of Ramadan.
Absolutely.
So to all of our listeners who are embarking on their first or second or even 10th Ramadan as new Muslims, we say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
May Allah's peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you.
May He guide your steps and illuminate your path.
And remember, you're not alone on this journey.
There's a whole community of support out there waiting to welcome you.
So reach out, connect, and allow yourself to be supported.
And if you're looking for some extra guidance as you navigate Ramadan, be sure to download our free Ramadan guide.
Oh, yes. It's packed with tips and insights.
Everything you need to make the most of this blessed month.
You can find the link in the show notes.
And with that, we bid you farewell. May Allah grant us all strength, guidance, and steadfastness in our faith. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.